Hi guys, I'd like to welcome you guys all back to my channel, and today I am doing something a little different, and that is a makeup tutorial slash book review. So essentially you're just gonna watch me do my makeup and I'm gonna talk about this book. Now, what book are you talking about, Brittany? The book that I am reviewing is Children of Blood and Bones by Tomi Adeyemi. This is the new YA fantasy book that came out on March 6th. So if you guys want to keep checking out all my videos, again, this is because American Marriage review went over so well. So please don't forget to subscribe down below, and we're just going to jump right into it. So before I get started with the review, I just want to say that I primed my face with my NYX pore filler. As y'all can see, my face is not really doing the best. But I think for today, I'm just going to do the look that I go to, like whenever I feel like wearing makeup but don't feel like doing a whole lot. Except I'm going to make this the full face version, so there will be like under eye concealer and highlighting and all that stuff. But yeah, the book that we're reviewing for today's Get Ready With Me is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This book came out at the beginning of this month, and it is I think it's a YA book. Who cares? But like, first let's talk about how beautiful this cover is. Like, that is Zele, which we'll talk about in a second. But like, it is so pretty, and the best part is oops, forgot to turn off my fan. Sorry, guys. This is what the actual book looks like. So it's really pretty. And on both sides, it's got like the map of the world that it is. And I don't know, I thought that was really, really cool. So I guess we're going to start with my eyes. We're going to be using, let's move my mirror. I need something to darken it. That's orange. Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of this concealer, so we'll use this one. It's one of the Bright Features ones. It doesn't even have a number on it anymore. And we're going to be using it with one of the Real Techniques brushes. But yeah, so the story starts off in a world of Orisha, which is actually a Nigerian god. Things I love learning. And what it does, in this world, the gods have given powers to people known as diviners. And when they become of age, they become magi, which are magic people, but they have like special abilities. So there's like the healing ability, the ability to control fire, the ability to read minds, the ability to control minds rather. And then there's one which I think is really cool, and that is the ability to control the souls of the dead. So that is called the Reaper. And according to the history, there was a time where the monarchy themselves also had abilities, is what I'm going to call them. And they got too big for their britches, and the gods took their powers away. So after a while, the monarchy started fearing the magi. I'm setting my eyes with the RCMA powder, but yeah, so the actual kingdom starts fearing these magical people, and the king somehow figures out a way to completely cut off the Magi's connection between their gods and them, which by cutting off their connection took away their powers, which he then used as a way to do a mass murder of all the Magi people, all the ones who actually had magic, not the children, because if they've never had magic, then they won't remember that they lost it, is essentially his thought process. And sounds really dark. I mean, because it really is dark when you think about it. And it focuses on one little diviner. Diviners are also noted by their hair color. They have gray hair and they have really silver eyes, and they're really pretty in my opinion. Like, this is what she looks like in the cover. Like, first of all, her skin is flawless. But yeah. We're going to do eyes first. So again, doing this very simple, using my go-to palettes. I'm going to be using Coastal Scents, if if I could just get it out. I'm going to be using Coastal Scents Deep Roast for my outer V. And I'm going to be using just a regular e.l.f. blur. I'm going to use an e.l.f. blending brush. But yeah, so the story focuses on one diviner. Her name is Zele. And it starts off, the story starts off pretty poppin'. I'm going to do my very best not to do spoilers. So the story immediately grabs my attention for multiple reasons. But from what I've noticed, the diviner children are now called maggots. They're treated very unfairly. They're immediately discriminated against because their huge markers tell them that they would have been magic people. So they're treated unfairly. People who have family members that are diviners, they get taxed heavily. All around, they get treated like crap. And after a while, they end up in a place called the stocks, which is like slavery, essentially, is what it is. And so it starts off with Zele. She works in this sewing place with her teacher. And surprisingly, her teacher is pretty supportive. You'll love the story that's revealed about her. I promise you will freaking love it. But again, it focuses on the kingdom as well. So the kingdom has a prince who is named Iman? Anan? Yeah, Anan. And then they have his sister, who's Princess Amari. This book is told from the standpoint of all three of those. So each chapter is told from a different standpoint. Most of it is Zele, of course, but you do see Amare and Anan's point of view. Now, Amare is considered weak, of course, and she finds out that there are artifacts that can, in fact, bring the Magi's powers back. So, what sparks this, you may ask? Well, turn of events happen in her life that she's like pretty much over it, and she ends up stealing it. And she ends up running right into Zele, who is just trying to sell some fish and mind her business. And the story literally takes off from there. So it literally starts like, this is like the first like 2 chapters or something, and you're immediately like thrusted into this story. Now, another important character, I'm going to call him Big Brother T, because I cannot pronounce his name. I think his name is Tezin. Of course, I'm going to put it here. But Big Brother T is her older brother, who, of course, is like the star athlete. Everybody loves him. Nobody has any problems with him. I'm going to be using Dance in the Tides for my lid color. But yeah, everybody loves him. He's just trying to mind his business. But, of course, he's got his little sister Zele to worry about. So, like, things never work out for him. But he proves to be a very important character in this story as well. They end up having to run away from their town because Anan is chasing them. Anan is under the impression, based from his father, that his sister was kidnapped by Zele and that his main mission is to save his sister and destroy magic, because magic will destroy them all. That is the premise that his dad's taught him. That is the premise that he pretty much lives by. And he, of course, wants to do everything that his dad says because he, that's the only way to be a great king. But something happens to Anan on the way, and it really messes up Anan. And I just want to say, this is going to sound so weird, but this to me is like the African Avatar. Hear me out. So there is one girl, and in Avatar's case, it was Aang, but this girl has magic powers, and she's just trying to restore to the world the balance that was given to them by the gods that the king took away, because the king wanted to be the almighty, so he destroyed everything else so that he could be the almighty. And then he tries to teach his son the same thing, but then his son starts battling with the ideas of his father because he starts seeing everything that everything that his father has caused, he starts seeing it. So does that not give you like a Zuko vibe? Like Anan and Zuko to me are so similar. It's crazy. But it's revealed that Zele's mother was a reaper, a very strong reaper, and therefore so is she. They say that you get your bloodline is through your mother. So of course she is that as well. And they have to race for this to get to the solstice. Yeah, they have to race to get to the solstice, because the solstice is the last chance that they have to get their magic fully restored, because after the solstice they will have nothing. So it's literally just a story of them running for their lives and the lives of everyone that they love, just trying to get stuff back. And that is the whole premise of the story that I'm going to give you guys. Oh, I'm using Blame It on Midnight. But that's the premise that I'm going to give you guys, because I don't want to give the story away. But I do want to say that I enjoy books like this, like in general. But I really enjoyed this book, because I could totally see this in a TV show or a movie. And I mean, yeah, there were some cliche points. Like, I personally really loved how strong and hurt they made Zele, if that makes sense. And I know I'm probably saying her name wrong, but I really enjoyed that. Hold on, we need to do eyeliner. Okay, so while I'm talking, I'm going to attempt to use the NYX Epic line, and we're gonna see if I can do this. But yeah, I really enjoyed the characters. So Zele is portrayed as, you know what, hold on. Okay, I can't do this and talk, obviously, so hold on. Okay. Whew. All right, so like I was saying, Zele is, she watched her mother die, y'all. Like, they saw their mother be killed by these people. They have this justified hatred for these people. I'm going to be using my Bright Eyes Features color corrector in orange. But yeah, like, she has every right to hate these people. And the way that they keep her, like, excuse my language, she is such a badass. Like, she is just ready to go at all times. I'm not saying she's the smartest person, but I think the balance of that is bought by her older brother, Big Brother T. Like, he is just like, he's just like, sis, like, let us just live. Can we live? And he acts like a typical older brother. But at the same time, you kind of feel for her at the same time, because she walks around with this guilt because of who she is. And, like, being who she is puts her brother and her baba in danger. And, like, that's got to be crazy. But you don't really notice. Like, she's a strong woman. Like, it's no mistake that she understands that she is meant to be something, and that she's going to be something. Whatever that something is, I don't think she really knows, but, like, that something is a powerful thing for her. And then we have the complete contrast to me of her character is Princess Amari. Princess Amari, she's under the same, essentially her daddy is a dictator. She's under the same kind of dictator that her brother is, but the difference is that, like, her brother fully embraced it. And, like, she did it to survive, essentially, and then, like, she feared it. But she was never, like, fully into it, because no one expected anything of her. Everybody assumed that she was just this weak person, and that she was never really going to amount to anything. Like, everybody just expected her to, like, be meek and all that. But I promise you, like, there's a moment in this book with her that you're kind of like, oh, okay, girl. Because then you kind of remember that, like, she grew up in the same place that her brother grew up. And you have to see, like, their dynamic is so complicated because their father is a monster. It's like, Anan has to do so much to, like, prove that he's, like, king, because king is, like, put the kingdom over yourself, and da-da-da-da-da. And so he's literally, like, the whole book trying to decide who to be, because homie is not as different as you think he is. So it's just like, I like the fact also they're teenagers, so they do some teenage things. I found myself like, y'all idiots, but then I'm like, oh, they're teenagers. Like, yeah, they're, like, on this super serious mission, but, like, of course they're gonna do something stupid because they're teenagers and something stupid has to be done. I'm going to be using the Maybelline 24-hour foundation. I think this was in Warm Coconut. Just haven't used it in a while, so I figured why not. going to be using it with my foundation blurring brush. But yeah, so let me think. Oh, there are some things about this book that I don't like. Like, y'all know me. I hate love stories. I feel like in this book, love wasn't even really love. Love was just confusion. Like, I feel like all of these kids have gone through so much in their lives that it was just like, they were just clinging to people who could understand what they were going through. And in a way, I was like, I kind of don't feel bad. Like, I feel like this love is okay. Like, I feel like some of these people, they need some love because they've had terrible lives, and it's only fair, you know? It's like, dang, like, let these boys live. Let these little girls live. But one part of the book that really struck me was, you get introduced to some other characters in the book. And the one thing that I found interesting was how they made sure how Tommy made sure to kind of remind you that, like, the king was a terrible person, like, every opportunity available. So, like, every city that they went to, every town that they went to, they saw the devastation that this king brought on. Like, it was very clear that, like, no matter what happens in this book, it's very clear that the king was the problem. Like, that man was nuts on so many different levels. He made his kids fight when they were younger because, like, they always had to be ready to fight Magi in his mind. So he, to me, had already, like, lost his cookies. And yeah, he was just cray cray. And then you saw how bad the daddy issues were with Amari and Anan, but in two different ways. So, like, they both needed a father, but Anan needed a father, like, in a different way. Like, he wanted to know his dad. He wanted to be his dad. Amari was like, bro, my daddy crazy. Like, this is just what it is. Like, he will never be different. And I don't have anything else to say about it. So let me think. Oh, another thing. So after reading this book, I got so excited that I, like, wrote the author, because I was like, yo, like, sequel? No sequel? Because the ending of this book, like, oh, another thing, I think pacing overall was pretty good till you got to the last couple of chapters. I felt like it was dragging. Like, I was kind of like, can we hurry up? Like, there was a little bit of a pacing issue in the very end, but then it just, like, picked up and ran. So, like, I finished the book and I was sitting there like, wait, this is it. Like, this is it. What happened? Like, I was so mad. Like, y'all don't understand. Also, I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape. Yes, I know, but I'm not throwing this away because I'd already bought it before Tarte tried it. But so yeah, I think she did a great job with making me want to read the next book, because apparently it is a trilogy. So that is fantastic. I get to finally figure out what happens. One thing I will say, she did very good to keep the characters consistent. I didn't feel like any character stepped out of their norm. I didn't feel like she made any character do above and beyond what we were kind of expecting the characters to do. I also feel like, just blending. I also kind of feel like I wanted Zele. I didn't want Zele to show real emotion, I guess. I don't know why, but I feel like she had to, because you kind of had to see her the fact that she had a soft side to kind of, I don't know, feel for her, because the only time you really saw anything, like, emotional with Zele was when it involved her dad and her brother, because in her mind, losing them would mean that, like, life was not worth it. Like, living outside of that was quite pointless. But other than that, oh, I also love that at some points you kind of felt like Amari was stepping into herself. Like, clearly she had never been given an opportunity to do anything. Like, everybody had already checked her out in the kingdom. So to see her kind of, like, step out and step up when she needed to was cool, because that was another thing. Like I said, again, I really like the progression of the characters, because Amari is weak. you know that from the jump. She shares her story. You understand, oh, I'm just blending out my highlights so that there's no major moments. But yeah, you literally see her grow. You see her come to herself. You see her have this conflictions with herself. It also helps that like we see the story from her side of view as well. So it was hard for me to hate her. It was easy for me to hate Anon, if that makes sense. So I've been talking for 21 minutes, so I'm going to set my face, and we're not going to talk about the book anymore. We're just going to go ahead and go right through this makeup. So this is the final look, like you guys saw in the beginning of the video, but overall I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars, mainly because this was one of those books where it was hard for me to want to do other things while this book was not finished. And to me, I think that's a sign of a good book. I think that's a sign of... Oh, I am recording. This is a sign of a good book. This is a sign of something that I want to see more. I'm very happy that as her debut novel, she managed to not only grab my attention, but make me want to talk about it. I've recommended this book to so many different people. I'm like, get it, get your life. Like, you'll enjoy it. It's really great. So for that, I just want to say, I hope you guys like it. Do you guys plan on reading it? Have you read it yet? I will say I looked on Hoopla, and this is not on Hoopla. So you're going to have to either go to your local library or you're going to have to get it. I pre-ordered mine off of Amazon months ago when I realized that this book was coming out, just because, like I told you guys before, I've been really serious about trying to support people of color authors, because as of before now, I really wasn't. Like, I didn't realize that all of the authors that I loved were white women. And not to say that's a bad thing, but venturing into people of color, like I have two Japanese author books coming up that I want to read. Branching off has given me more variety, and African fantasy sci-fi is quickly becoming a huge new favorite of mine. So again, thank you guys for checking out my channel, and until the next time, guys, bye.